Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A very small distance or space. They escaped by a hair's breadth. Any of the cylindrical filaments characteristically growing from the epidermis of a mammal. There is a hair in my soup. Cloth woven from horsehair or camel hair, used for upholstery or stiffening in garments. Filamentous hair-like growth on a plant. A covering for the body, or parts of it, consisting of a dense growth of thread-like structures, as on the human head, helps to prevent heat loss. He combed his hair. A filamentous projection or process on an organism. A very small distance or space. They escaped by a hair's breadth. A very small distance or space. A very small distance or space. They lost the election by a whisker. A long stiff hair growing from the snout or brow of most mammals, as e.g. a cat. Furnish with whiskers. A whiskered jersey. Any of the cylindrical filaments characteristically growing from the epidermis of a mammal. Hair-like structure, especially on the surface of a cell or microorganism. Cloth woven from horsehair or camel hair, used for upholstery or stiffening in garments. Uncomplimentary terms for a policeman. A hazy or indistinct representation. He tried to clear his head of the whiskey fuzz. Filamentous hair-like growth on a plant. Peach fuzz. The first beard of an adolescent boy. Filamentous hair-like growth on a plant. A network of tiny blood vessels between the cerebral surface of the pia mater and the cerebral cortex. An indefinite quantity that is below average size or magnitude. An indefinite quantity that is below average size or magnitude. A very slender natural or synthetic fiber. A thread-like structure, as a chain-like series of cells. A thin wire, usually tungsten, that is heated white-hot by the passage of an electric current. The stalk of a stamen. A thread-like structure, as a chain-like series of cells. Artifact made by weaving or felting or knitting or crocheting natural or synthetic fibers. Of or relating to fabrics or fabric making. Textile research. Artifact made by weaving or felting or knitting or crocheting natural or synthetic fibers. She measured off enough material for a dress. Having substance or capable of being treated as fact, not imaginary. Having material or physical form or substance. The tangible substance that goes into the makeup of a physical object. Coal is a hard black material. A person judged suitable for admission or employment. He was university material. Concerned with or affecting physical as distinct from intellectual or psychological well-being. Material needs. Concerned with worldly rather than spiritual interests. Material possessions. Derived from or composed of matter. The material universe. Directly relevant to a matter, especially a law case. His support made a material difference. Information, data or ideas or observations, that can be used or reworked into a finished form. The archives provided rich material for a definitive biography. Things needed for doing or making something. Writing materials. Artifact made by weaving or felting or knitting or crocheting natural or synthetic fibers. Woven cloth originated in Mesopotamia around 5000 BC. Artifact made by weaving or felting or knitting or crocheting natural or synthetic fibers. The fabric in the curtains was light and semi-transparent. The underlying structure. It is part of the fabric of society. Line of descent traced through the maternal side of the family. A natural projection or outgrowth from a plant body or organ. A natural projection or outgrowth from a plant body or organ. Any covering for the body or a body part. A natural prolongation or projection from a part of an organism, either animal or plant. The gradual beginning or coming forth. A natural consequence of development. A natural prolongation or projection from a part of an organism, either animal or plant. A bony process. A writ issued by authority of law. Usually compels the defendant's attendance in a civil suit. Failure to appear results in a default judgment against the defendant. Shape, form, or improve a material. Process iron. Deliver a warrant or summons to someone. He was processed by the sheriff. A sustained phenomenon or one marked by gradual changes through a series of states. Events now in process. Institute legal proceedings against. File a suit against. He was warned that the district attorney would process him. March in a procession. They processed into the dining room. A particular course of action intended to achieve a result. It was a process of trial and error. Psychology. The performance of some composite cognitive activity. An operation that affects mental contents. The process of thinking. A mental process that you are not directly aware of. The process of denial. Subject to a process or treatment, with the aim of readying for some purpose, improving, or remedying a condition. Process cheese. Deal with in a routine way. Process alone. Perform mathematical and logical operations on data, according to programmed instructions in order to obtain the required information. The results of the elections were still being processed when he gave his acceptance speech. A natural prolongation or projection from a part of an organism, either animal or plant. An external body part that projects from the body. A part that is joined to something larger. A hair that does not emerge from the follicle but remains embedded in the skin, usually causing inflammation. A multicellular hair in plants like the stinging nettle that expels an irritating fluid. Tuft of strong filaments by which e.g. a muscle makes itself fast to a fixed surface. The hair growing on the lower part of a man's face. A person who diverts suspicion from someone, especially a woman who accompanies a male homosexual in order to conceal his homosexuality. A tuft or growth of hairs or bristles on certain plants such as iris or grasses. Go along the rim, like a beard around the chin. Houses bearded the top of the heights. Hairy growth on or near the face of certain mammals. The yarn, as in a rug or velvet or corduroy, that stands up from the weave. For uniform color and texture, tailors cut velvet with the pile running the same direction. A large sum of money, especially as pay or profit. Arrange in stacks. Fine soft dense hair, as the fine short hair of cattle or deer or the wool of sheep or the undercoat of certain dogs. A column of wood or steel or concrete that is driven into the ground to provide support for a structure. Often followed by of, a large number or amount or extent. A collection of objects laid on top of each other. Press tightly together or cram. A nuclear reactor that uses controlled nuclear fission to generate energy. Battery consisting of voltaic cells arranged in series, the earliest electric battery devised by Volta. Place or lay as if in a pile. The teacher piled work on the students until the parents protested. Short hair growing over a person's body. The arch of hair above each eye. The part of the face above the eyes. The peak of a hill. The sun set behind the brow of distant hills. 43rd President of the United States, son of George Herbert Walker Bush, born in 1946. Not of the highest quality or sophistication. United States electrical engineer who designed an early analog computer and who led the scientific program of the United States during World War II, 1890 to 1974. Dense vegetation consisting of stunted trees or bushes. Vice President under Reagan and 41st President of the United States, born in 1924. A low woody perennial plant usually having several major stems. Hair growing in the pubic area. A large wilderness area. Provide with a bushing. Any of the short curved hairs that grow from the edges of the eyelids. A hair-like projection from the surface of a cell. Provides locomotion in free-swimming unicellular organisms. Put a coat on. Cover the surface of. Furnish with a surface. Coat the cake with chocolate. A thin layer covering something. A second coat of paint. Form a coat over. Dirt had coated her face. Growth of hair or wool or fur covering the body of an animal. An outer garment that has sleeves and covers the body from shoulder down, worn outdoors. Cover or provide with a coat.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.